A Michigan school employee is arrested on pedophile charges after a rousing speech about what to teach children. Where in the school the man works is unclear, but his connection to the left is quite obvious. He makes it very apparent. Gretchin Whitmer says she is for women's choice, but seems to only support the choices that she likes and not other choices. We'll be discussing all that. A Utah group starts rating books in schools on how graphic they are about sex and how much they indoctrinate children. It's kind of like, you go to the movie, you get a rating, except this one has a rating for content and for indoctrination. So that seems like a really good tool. And finally, Randy Meppelink is a county commissioner, and he says the DEI office, they just have to work with far left groups. No choice in the matter. They're in our community, so we have to partner with them. I'm Don, and this is the Holmes Politicast. All right. Welcome back to the Holmes Politicast. Thank you for joining me today. If you have seen my other content, or if this is your first time, you know what? Go ahead, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. I am covering Ottawa County news, Michigan news, all the news that's going to affect you. The news that's happening in schools. We got a lot going on in schools right now, parents. You want to pay attention to it. All right, I'm going to move this out from under this little lip so that I'm not getting this dark patch over the top of the screen. That's better. So we start with this craziness. So I'm going to show you the video of this guy first because it's quite illuminating. So this employee for Mount Pleasant Schools, he gave a rousing speech about what children should be learning and that we're going to teach it to your children whether you like it or not. He's going to do other things to your children whether you like it or not too. But we're going to, these children are going to learn this whether you want them to or not. So we're going to watch just a little bit of that speech here. So I'm going to get it dragged over to your screen so that you can see it with me. He's got his Blue Black Lives Matter t-shirt. Let's listen.
I'm a resident county taxpayer, vaccinated and functioning, graduate of this high school, class of 1999, proud member of the LGBTQIA community, and an employee of Mount Pleasant Public Schools. Thank you. I really cannot speak any more eloquently than the people who have spoken before me tonight, but what I can say is that for the last 5 years, I have had the profound privilege of working with your students, And I can tell you this, they are hungry for knowledge. They are so hungry for knowledge that despite your words, your wishes, your values, they will learn on their own.
Your values.
So many of your children are hurting, questioning, struggling in this world that we have created. They are simultaneously being taught to celebrate and to hate who they are. I can't deny that.
No, I'm done.
Every day. Ultimately, they will become who they will become with or without us.
No.
Give them the chance, the grace, and the support to embrace their own learning. They're going to do it anyway. No matter what you say or do, no matter how many candles you light, no matter how many rallies you hold. With liberty and justice for all.
That dude's speech was so incoherent. I just listened. I mean, that was my second time listening to it, but it's just so incoherent. They're gonna be who they are gonna become with or without us. What? no, people have an impact on other people, especially children. Um, my children, when I have such, are they're not just gonna become something without my influence. I'm gonna have an influence on them whether they want me to or not, just by being around. I could do literally nothing except sit there and stare at them, and that will be an influence. Um, it would be a bad influence. It would be awful for them to have a vacant father that takes no interest in their education. But that seems to be what this public Mount Pleasant public school employee is suggesting, is that you should just get out of your way, get out of your child's way, because they're gonna learn what they're gonna learn, whether you like it or not. Well, now that they've learned what they're gonna learn, whether you like it or not, this is an unfortunate thing for Mr. Eric Roman. He's been arrested. Arrested trying to meet up with a child for sex. So, here we go. A Michigan public school employee who staunchly advocated for LGBT curricula, LGBTQAI. This article is very bigoted. I'm sorry. Curricula to his district school board has been arrested as part of a police sting operation targeting local pedophiles. 41-year-old Eric Roman, an employee of Mount Pleasant, Michigan's public school system, was arrested as part of an Isabella County Sheriff's Office sting operation that also saw 2 more alleged child predators put behind bars. According to local reports, Isabella County law enforcement was assisting in the sting by agents from the FBI, the Michigan State Police, and the Michigan State Police, among others. Along with 2 other men, Eric Roman, 41, of Mount Pleasant, was arrested at an undisclosed location, local media reports. All 3 were arrested for using a computer to commit a crime and accosting a minor for immoral purposes. Police allege that the 3 communicated over various social media apps with decoys posing as children. The 3 are accused of going to a location to have sex with a child where they were arrested. The report goes on to explain. Now, the local media outlet failed to mention in their report on the sting that Eric Roman is an employee of Mount Pleasant Public School Division. It's unclear, as this article makes perfectly clear. It's perfectly clear that it's unclear in what capacity he has worked for the school, but he does work for the school. Unless he was lying about that. It could very well be that he was just getting up there and just taking the spotlight and running with it. But I don't think that it is. I don't know. It's up in the air. It really is. Mount Pleasant Schools hasn't commented on their on the claim that he works for them. So yeah, there we are. An alleged school employee being arrested for preying on children after telling us what we should be teaching the children. That is leftism in a nutshell. They tell us they're going to learn it whether you like it or not, and then they prey on our children directly afterward. Now, I'm not saying that this man is any more evil than I, but for the grace of God, there go I. Right? We are none of us perfect. But this points to a disturbing aspect of leftism that works in the mind to make you think that these children really have to learn this stuff. And I don't know what it is about the left that makes it. Well, I think it. So here's what I think it is. I think it is that adults are so opposed to it. Fully mature, thinking adults see the inconsistencies and the illogical nature of leftism, and they say, that's crazy. That we are not going to accept that. So when the left tries to teach people, they have to go to children. And because children are the only ones that's whose minds are malleable enough to learn that, they think, well, here's my opportunity. And they become obsessed with the children. I think that's kind of where the psychology goes. I'm not sure. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. But that's what I think is happening here. I don't know how you go I do. It's not a very large leap from becoming totally dependent on children accepting your worldview to wanting to engage in sex with them. It's just that seems like where we are at in our society. So leftism once again creeping into prey on our children right here in Michigan. And as I've said before, I'm going to be reporting on everything that Michigan universities are teaching prospective teachers. We're going to do a deep dive into this ideology over the next year. So, again, like the video, subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be posting a lot of it on there. That's where we're going to get the breakdown of what's going on in higher education that really affects what's going on in your child's education. All right, so we move on from there. Governor Gretchin Whitmer says she is for women's choice, right? She says she will fight like hell to keep a woman's right to choose, as she brands it. However, you do not have the right to choose to go to a pregnancy center, a crisis pregnancy center, because Governor Whitmer doesn't want that. She line item vetoes it. So we begin this article from Bridge, Michigan. Now, I don't necessarily think this paper is objective by any stretch of the imagination, but they report it. So we're gonna be looking at the facts, the fiction, and be parsing it out. When Democratic Governor Gretchen Whitmer finishes signing a nearly $77 billion Michigan budget later this week, it won't include millions of dollars in funding the Republican-led legislature had included to promote alternatives to abortion. So they say it right there in the first line. She is not going to sign Republican-led efforts to promote alternatives to abortion. So right there in the first line, she's not for women's choice. She's for abortion. And that's been a common claim among abortion advocates, is that they're not really pro-choice. They're pro-abortion. They want only abortion. And it seems that Governor Whitmer has jumped onto that train, citing anti-choice concerns. Whitmer's office announced Monday she will use her line item veto power to strike more than $21 million in funding from the general government budget bill. I've said before on this show, the line item veto needs to go. We should not, no. That's not a thing that should be allowed. In fact, I would like to see line item only bills. But if you are going to pass a crap sandwich like this, you cannot just allow the governor to line item veto things and then pass the rest of it. That's ridiculous. So that includes $10 million Republicans had included for marketing programs that promote adoption as an alternative to abortion, $2 million in tax credits for adoptive parents, and $3 million for a maternal navigator pilot program that would be run by a nonprofit that, quote, promotes childbirth and alternatives to abortion. So, maternal navigator pilot program. What is that? Sounds like something that teaches you how to be a mom, how to raise your children, how to spend your money wisely, which is something that a lot of adoption agencies do, a lot of women's crisis pregnancy centers do. They teach you how to be an adult, how to take care of yourself and your child. And of course, that's not in line with the prevailing elite philosophy, so that won't get funded. Whitmer will also veto $1.5 million Republicans included for pregnancy resource centers and $700,000 for Real Alternatives, a Pennsylvania-based nonprofit that expanded into Michigan several years ago, according to her office. Whitmer spokesperson Bobby Letty accused such centers of using, quote, deceptive advertising that target young women and women with low incomes who are seeking abortion care, painting themselves as comprehensive, licensed healthcare clinics that provide all options, and then lie to women about medical facts. Now, I think that that the workers at those places would be indignant to hear this, because from what I understand, they give all the facts about everything. They tell you exactly what happens in abortion, which these people won't do. Bobby Letty will not tell you what exactly happens in abortion. During an abortion procedure, he does not want you seeing that. He does not want you knowing what's going on, because it's kind of disgusting. Now, if you have children listening, cover their ears. They don't need to hear this. What happens during an abortion procedure in the second trimester is that the doctor will go in with scissors. He will cut off the child's limbs one by one as the child's still alive, taking them out, and then he will crush the child's head so that it will fit through the canal that is not quite ready to give birth yet. There is a lot of complications that go along with it. Sometimes pieces of tissue, pieces of the child's body can be left behind, cause infection as it decays. That is not something that pro-abortion advocates will tell you. They will tell you, oh, we just get rid of it. It's just gone. Like that, magic. Poof, gone. No, that is not what happens. In the first trimester, I'm not going to tell you. You can go and look, and I'm sure all people that are against abortion know exactly what happens during an abortion. So the accusation by Bobby Letty is exactly opposite. He is projecting what the pro-aborts do onto women's health centers, because what the pro-aborts do is they will often target young women and women with low incomes who are seeking help with their pregnancy. They'll paint themselves as the smartest people around, licensed healthcare clinics. And of course they are. They're licensed by the state. The state approves them killing your child, but they paint themselves as saints and purveyors of justice, and then they just kill the woman's child. The woman then has to live with regret, possibly medical complications from her abortion, because here's a secret. God did not design women to have their babies forcibly ripped out of them. He designed them to carry them to term and then birth them. So, Whitmer spokesperson Bobby Letty is exactly wrong on just about every count. But we continue. Governor Whitmer supports legislation that will provide every possible resource to women who are pregnant, seeking to start a family, or those who aren't ready yet. But she cannot support aspects of a bill that sends millions in taxpayer dollars to fake healthcare centers that intentionally withhold information from women about their health, bodies, and full reproductive freedom, Letty wrote in a statement. Again, just blatantly lying. Just blatantly false. And maybe he's not lying. Maybe he really has no idea. It wouldn't be the first time that a politician was ignorant on the issue that they're talking about. But this is just it. He knows. I think he knows better. I think he knows that he is not helping women. That they're not providing full reproductive freedom. I think they know that this is not as they are presenting it. And in fact, Genevieve Marnin Sorry. Uh, ran across that one kind of quick. Genevieve Marnin, who lobbied for the funding for Right to Life of Michigan, said she is not surprised by the expected vetoes, but bristled at the government's rejection of what legislation envisioned as the $2 million tax credit program for adoptive parents. And I bristle at that too. Abortions cost like $800, $600, something like that. Adoptions cost like $16,000. That is ridiculous. We should. I mean, it's no wonder abortions or adoptions are so are so. I mean, people complain, oh, Republicans are just pro-birth, they're not pro-life because they don't take care of people after. Well, you make adoptions so darn hard to do. What do you expect? Nobody can afford that. I can afford that. I can't afford to pay $16,000 to adopt a child right now. There's no way. And yet you make abortions cheap, easy to obtain, legal. Of course that's going to be the option that people go with. Make adoptions doable. And then try criticizing Republicans for not wanting to do it. I know many people that want to adopt but just don't have the money. It's adoption should be less than abortions. But I digress. We have the largest budget in history, she says, Genevieve, and we want to throw a bone to adoptive parents. And she's vetoing that? Wow, she's for women, all right, said Marnin, who is legislative director of the state's Right to Life. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, she's not for women. She's for abortion. The expected veto comes as Whitmer continues to ask the Michigan Supreme Court to declare unconstitutional a 1931 law that would ban most abortions in the state. The Republican-led legislature is defending the law, which was temporarily suspended in May but could be reactivated following the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to strike down Roe v. Wade. So just a couple things on this. One, the line item veto thing needs to go. We cannot continue to allow politicians to pass garbage bills and then veto the only good stuff in them. I don't know where Governor Whitmer derives her power for the line item veto. If it's in the Constitution, then the Constitution needs to change. That's going to be really hard to do right now because Democrats control more than a third of the legislature. But it seems that we may have the opportunity to do that here at the end of August or at the end of November. Well, it'd be in January of next year, but if Republicans take the House and the Senate by a large enough margin, we could see something like that. So I don't think that will be realistic, though. And we'd have to get Democrats on board. And Democrats are never going to vote to get rid of the line item veto because they love it so much. Because it allows them to pass these crap packages while getting rid of Republican initiatives. So it's just not going to happen, I don't think. We would have to rally like we did for the lockdown thing, the 1941 law. We would have to get petitions and signatures, and that is what would have to be done to get rid of the line item veto. And I don't think people are as concerned about the line item veto as I am. So we'll see. That's not something that I expect in the near future, but I have been wrong before, and I probably will be wrong again. And I hope that I'm wrong on that, actually. All right, so Restoring Ottawa is a Substack that I have been reading a lot lately. They have good articles from concerned parents in Grand Haven about what's going on in the Grand Haven School District, what's going on with their children, their library books. They have stuff about teachers teaching crazy things. So they report a rating system for books in school libraries similar to movie ratings has been created. So we've got this graphic G mild, non-explicit violence, no nudity, no profanity, no references to sexual activities, no drug or alcohol use. So that's at the one end of the spectrum. That's G. And then NC 17 plus is at the other end of the spectrum. And that is explicit references to aberrant sexual activities, sexual assault / battery, bestiality, or sadomasochistic abuse. They've also got NC 17 rated a 4 for explicit sexual nudity, depictions of sexual organs in a state of arousal, or obscene references to sexual activities involving anal, oral, or vaginal intercourse. So different things. You can look at these. I would highly suggest that you go and subscribe to this Substack because they're doing some good work. A group of concerned okay, so we're back to the article. A group of concerned parents in Utah, Stop Utah Porn, ratedbooks.org, is working to rate books and make the public aware of what's happening in their schools. What's more, they have already rated many of the same books reviewed by Restoring Ottawa. The content-based rating system rates books based on sexual content, violence, and drug and alcohol abuse. It does not take into account indoctrinate. Oh, no, sorry. My apologies. It does not take into account indoctrination concepts such as critical race theory that are used to divide people. Therefore, in addition to the ratedbooks.org system, it is important to add an additional rating system. So, indoctrination rating, there's A, C, and F. A is a none, C is some, F is excessive. So, the indoctrination would be teaches that one race or sex is inherently superior to another race or sex, ties an individual's physical characteristics to superiority, oppressiveness, privilege, moral character, power, or other unrelated traits, makes an individual feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or any other form of psychological distress on account of an individual's race or sex, teaches individuals by virtue of the individual's race or sex, bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex. So a lot of racism stuff, anti-racism, LGBTQ, communist philosophies, things like this. So I think this is all a part of the same group. So I don't know if the indoctrination rating was something that Restore Ottawa added, but I don't think so. Oh, yeah, it does. It looks like that's something that Restore Ottawa added. So I like the idea of both of these. They have some of the ratings here. Let's see. Lakeshore Middle School has Beyond Magenta, Transgender Teens Speak Out, rated 3C. There's a couple that are here rated F. Inside. Yeah, so at Central School, My Mother the Cheerleader, rating 2F. And Pet at Lakeshore Middle School, rated 2F. They also have a downloadable version with additional books. So I think this is something that parents want. Parents want to know what their children have available to them at school. I had Harry Potter available to me. These children have sexually explicit pornographic books available to them that are telling them that men can be women, women can be men, that you are whatever you feel at the moment, and that's not something that most parents want their children learning. Now, as we will document again over the next year, shameless self-promotion, you got to follow me, you got to find out what teachers are learning in universities. So we're going to document how this stuff gets into the schools. I'm going to actually be asking professors why they think this is appropriate for children. And we'll see what they say. So that is our books rating system. That is a win for parents. Hopefully it does more to get these books out of the schools. We don't need them there. We don't want them there. So now we turn to my interview with Randy Meppelink. So I've got this question for Randy that I just wanted to highlight. And, and I'm just going to let him speak for me.
So let's say hypothetically, the DEI office was associated with an organization that pushes like a far left agenda. Would that be something that would concern the commissioners, and would they, like, how would you deal with something like that?
I would be concerned because I would want to make sure that they're not promoting it, okay, in a particular agenda, all right? So I would be concerned as to the level of involvement that they have. Now, they have to be involved in it because it's a group of people that require, or that is asking, whatever. So that's the office's job, is to be plugged in to what is going on out in the community. Okay, so that part is, yes, they would have to be, but as far as promoting, and no different would I want them to promote an active far left agenda as I would want them to promote an active far right agenda.
So Randy seemed to kind of dance around that question. I asked, should they be partnered with far left groups? Should we be funding those groups? And he's like, well, yeah, we need to work with them. So from what I understand, and from what I talked with Robin Afric about, is that, yeah, she would send people to these far left groups if they were seeking that kind of thing. Should Ottawa County, and this is a question for you, should Ottawa County be sending people to far left groups? Should we be promoting them at the county level? Now Randy says, if we don't allow if we allow these Ottawa Impact people to get in, it's going to be a far right only is allowed, which the far right hasn't really concerned me a lot. That they want parents to be in control of their child's education. They want teachers to stick to teaching math and science and social studies and not LGBTQ and racism and gender theory and stuff like that. So he says he doesn't think that that's a good platform to run on, the far right. He says he doesn't think that that we should not be offering far left things. Now, he said a couple other things in the interview that I was just a little shocked by. He said he doesn't know who George Soros is. I think just about everybody that's ever paid attention to politics for 5 minutes knows who George Soros is. He's behind every single leftist movement that has happened in the past 50 years. But aside from that, and the county commissioners general, I want to say, I'm just going to say it, their general political ignorance. Aside from that, he is saying that we should be sending people to leftist organizations for help, for counseling, for community. And I just don't think we should be promoting community within places like Momentum Center, within places like Race Forward, GARE, places that push these leftist political things on our communities. No, I just don't think that that's right to partner with them, to give them money, to do anything else with them. So let me know in the comments what you think of that. That's all I have for today. I know it was a little bit short, I think, but I will be back. Actually, I won't be back next week. Next week is primaries. So we're going to find out what's going to happen with the Ottawa County Board of Commissioners after next week. So get out, vote. Vote for who you think is the best candidate. I still haven't gotten any interviews with any of the Ottawa Impact people, but I think I'm voting for Sylvia Rohde. You can choose who you want to vote for. So August 2nd is that primary. Make sure you're making your voices heard, because the county commissioners are having Democrats vote for them in their primaries. They don't have a chance to get the Democrats in, so they want the furthest left candidates they can get, and that's our Ottawa County Board of Commissioners. So if you don't like the agenda of the left, get out and vote. All right, thank you guys so much for joining me. Remember to share this, to subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on the Twitters, get me on the Facebooks. I don't use Facebook a lot. Yeah, let's keep making Ottawa County a better place for us all. And with that, I am Anon Don. This is the Homes Politicast. I will see you in 2 weeks. You guys have a safe couple weeks. Godspeed.